Alright guys, giving y'all an update on this bumper. Turned out pretty good. Take this out. Painted tailgate. I don't know if I showed you last time. I'm just gonna start over. I don't know where I picked up last time, but like I said, I got this truck for basically what I was gonna pay to put a new motor and redo everything on this truck. This was a 351 Cleveland heads on a 400 modified that was bored 30 over. So technically I think it was a 406 with 351 Cleveland heads. Full roller. Blew a head gasket. I think my thermostat or my temperature sensor was faulty because I was running it at 180, 160, you know, normal temp. And next thing I know, I got the radiator in the back, so the radiator hose blew off the back, and it just locked. It just stopped running, and I had to get towed back by my buddy Spencer in his Ranger, and this is where it sat. Well, I tried to fire it up 6 months. I let it sit for 6 months. I was just tired of it, and wouldn't crank over. So pulled the spark plugs, dumped some Marble Mystery Oil. It was locked up. I couldn't turn it with a harmonic balance or nothing. So basically I blew a head gas and it locked up. Water got in the engine and just locked everything up. So I was like, fuck, need to put a new motor in it. But then I found this truck for about the same price as a new motor, so I just didn't have to do any labor. But I just took it's an F250 8 lug. So what I just did is just took those wheels off, because those are Super Duty axles, okay, and these are 89 F250 axles. So they're both 8 lug, but it's a different bolt pattern. So I think they changed at 97. I'm not 100% sure on that. So basically I had to waller these out just a hair, because it's a mud truck, you know, I'm not taking on the road or nothing. So you can see I wallered out the holes a little bit, but they fit and ride good. I got 1.5 inch wheel spacers coming for the back end, because see the front end, they stick out further than the back, so I got to get 1.5 inch spacers for the rear. But yeah, it's got 351 Windsor. Interior is pretty mint. I mean, for a mud truck, pretty mint. Got a toolbox in it, Rhino line bed. This bumper, there was no reese hitch, no bumper, anything. So I pulled some metal on my scrap pile and bolted those up there, welded it up there, because that's stainless steel, bolted to the angle iron, bolted by a 3x4 tube steel, and welded up and bolted it, so it turned out pretty good. Taking out the River Ranch in Florida. That came off my winch, so I bolted it and welded it, and yeah, it should hold up pretty good, pretty solid. I got a 3-inch lift kit coming for it, because like you can see, I hacked the fenders up pretty good with the Sawzall and the bumper, but I just don't want to mess up the knobs on these things, so that's why I'm getting a little 3-inch lift. Hooked up a steering stabilizer last night. I'm just gonna ride this out till it breaks, and once this front end breaks, anything breaks, U-joint, axle shaft, tie rod, anything, I got a backup straight axle from a Super Duty in that truck I'll put in. But yeah, this is enough of a walk around. Let me oh, and I put a you can see, got a dual tranny cooler in it. 1 and 2. It's got the C6 transmission, which is actually pretty good for a mud truck. I mean, this thing is pretty mint for a mud truck. I mean, not even any rips on the seat. And 1 key start. Boom. All the gauges work. That was a sensor, bad sensor, so I put a sensor in there, started working. That worked when I got it. I was surprised the fuel gauge worked, and the oil pressure gauge works. Heat works, radio works, AC don't work, but who needs AC? Got my AC right there. And my little AC windows. Boom. Mint. 4x4 works. Even the light works. Even the low range works. Look at that. You just don't see that very often. But you know, that's just an update on the bumper and the truck. So I'll bring this out here to River Ranch and let you know how it digs. And I actually do an update when I put the 3-inch lift on it. It'd give it a little more ground clearance and tire clearance. But yeah, I'm just going to keep it pretty much stock. I'm going to leave that primered up because it matches the Ford. I left that primered. I don't know, I just like that black and primer. That's my dream colors right there. And yeah, that's just going to be a yard ornament. So I'll keep y'all updated.